Hey everyone, just jumping right in here, letting you know that this is part two of our interview with friend of the show, Rob, and we are gonna just kick right in and enjoy the second half.
You're listening to, and this is why I love Con. Andy and Mike!
Butterflies and Unicorns. One of my favorite shows that I worked for, again, thanks to Renee, for a couple of years was Terrificon up in Connecticut. That was a wonderful balance of that promoter where he had just the amount of celebrities, both actors, actresses, and voice actors and actresses, but he had a hell of a great comic book lineup as well, too. So kudos to Terrificon for that great balance to where it doesn't feel oversaturated of celebrities where the comic book people get overlooked.
That Mile High Comics guy, the shop owner, he would talk all about how San Diego Comic Con just lost roots and lost all aspects.
Oh,
I used to be, I would go there for basically a decade going to the Comic Con as an exhibitor. Like it would get so crowded. Too many people, got to step away. And the worst part was in order to get a breathing space, I would go to the comic section and it'd be
yeah.
ghost town. And it's like, oh, finally I can actually walk and look around as opposed to like, oh, excuse me, pardon me, as you're fighting your way through crowds. But yeah, you had to basically go to the comic book section at the Comic Con in order to get away from people.
I attended Comic Con for the first time in 2003, I believe. And again, thank you very much, Renee. I always got to give credit where credit's due, where I got to work with her people. And again, I did sense that, even though I had an amazing time going to at least 4 times or 3 times, it was one of those, need more comic book people, or even sometimes even more comic book vendors as well. And I remember one person in particular, a regular fan, said, man, I feel like I just entered nothing but a indoor flea market. People, I want comic book stuff, not pillowcase of this and that. Oh man, I want memorabilia stuff.
What are your thoughts on like the prices of comic book pages? Like if you're to buy an actual page, I remember, going, this is, again, testing out our ages, but I remember going to Comic Cons and seeing original pages and they're going for like $20, $30 a page.
Yeah. My first comic book published piece was by the late great Dick Giorgiano, and it was MegaCon 2006, my first show. He had 2 giant stacks of artwork that he had throughout the decades of inking or penciling or both. And his partner, I forgot her name. Yeah, she had the pricing, and I think the most I ever saw was maybe about $200. Everything else was like from $20 to $75 or whatever. And I picked up a $75 piece one that he both penciled and inked, and it's Aquaman and all those in every panel basically, where somebody is throwing a rock at him and he catches a brick, he catches it, and then he just breaks it in his hands.
Nice.
I think that was in Adventure Comics. I forgot what issue, 4 something. So yeah, now these days, artwork is getting up there in price. You just got to be. I always say this: if you're going to buy artwork, you better make sure it's going to be something that you're really going to cherish and love for a while. Be very cautious on what you're going to buy too, because again, you don't want to buy something and later on, you know what? I should have not bought this. I should have bought another piece instead. I'm always, when I go through a portfolio of an artist that that I love their stuff, I go through their portfolio at least maybe up to 5 times. I know it probably annoys them, but again, you want to make sure if you're going to buy something, you better damn well enjoy that piece, because you're going to be putting some $100 down,
Right.
$100 down. So you better make sure you're thoroughly going to enjoy that piece.
I hear some regret, Mike. I mean, if we knew then, what we know now, we would have picked up as many of those $20, pages that we saw from all those creators. But It always seems to be just out of my price range, or no matter what age I'm at, you know?
Well,
Yeah, it just us
I was
playing along with you.
Yeah.
I was showing Andy that last year for my birthday, I got myself an early birthday gift to myself. I went on to RomedaManArtwork.com because I've dealt with him before on that Jack Cole piece actually that I got. I went to John Romita's page and see what they had. And John Romita's stuff is not cheap at all. And he's a little
Mm,
pricey. But
yeah.
there was this one piece I saw. I sent him an email. Would you mind taking off this much for this price? And he comes back at me and he said, sure. And I can't believe this page was on there for so long and nobody bought it. So I felt like it was my calling. So this is an original. So I have an original John Romita Punisher piece right here.
Oh, very nice.
So again,
That's
I'm
cool.
very, very fortunate. So that was my birthday present to myself of last year. And
That's a happy birthday.
but it goes well because later on that year, earlier that year at MegaCon, Jerry Conway was at the show. He had his own little booth area with this one comic book company or something like that, or vendor. He was also doing sketches of the Punisher skull. I think I paid the price, literally, I paid for his sketching fee, and he drew the skull small, like, and I go, he goes, he looks at me, oh, is something wrong? And I said, no offense, Mr. Conway, but I have this whole giant page blank, go big or go home. And he got a good
Yeah.
laugh out of that. And he goes, I've never heard anybody say that to me. Okay. So the next thing I know, he sketched me the Punisher skull.
Wide.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, when
posted
you
that
said,
on my TikTok as well. I have that picture of he and I
yeah.
together. So yeah. So that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, because when you said sketch, I'm thinking like I don't remember him being an artist, but
Oh.
that's
And he
still really
literally
cool.
and he goes, that's the extent of my art. So yeah, so that was a great moment. And I actually rode in a limousine with him and Howard Chaykin
Ooh.
and the voice actress for Wonder Woman from the Elizabeth Eisenberg, I think that's her name. And it was at Terrificon because Terrificon is in a massive hotel in a reservation. So it's like a 40-something minute drive to get there from the airport or something like that.
Mm.
And again, it's in the middle of almost like nowhere. So on the last day, it's a headache because so many people are leaving to go to the airport and nobody knows if this is going to the airport. Am I going with you? And I'm like, I want to get back home to Florida. And next thing I know, the limousine pulls up, and it was my first time ever being in a long stretch limousine. And next thing I know, I'm riding in the car with those guys, and all we're talking about is TV shows. And so that was,
What's Shaken like?
oh,
I can imagine what he's like, but
well,
He's the one who
so
cussed me out. Oh,
yeah,
I was going to say on my end, I showed him my comic portfolio, and he just reamed me up and down in a good way. In a good way.
well,
He was like, well, I
who,
don't understand why you're not doing comics right now. And I was like, well, thanks.
okay, so you know why he has that semi attitude?
Not a clue.
Because he got that from Neil Adams. Neil Adams cut him down when he saw his art piece, when he saw his stuff. So that little bit of Neil isn't shaken when it comes to when people come up to him, what do you think of my art? He will just cut you bad too. And I kind of agree, and I do agree with Neil and Shaken and other individuals who do that because people who get into the comic book industry or anything creative, like again, I do photography. You got to have thick skin. Because people will bash you for the little things to the big things. So you got to have some big, tough skin to deal with those type of criticism. So again, I love Shaken. I always get along with Shaken whenever we see each other. And again, I got to know him as a human being, not as a creator. So that's kind of cool. I have a shadow commission piece by him as well.
Oh, that was a good force to run.
So yeah. So again, like I said, I really don't have. There's no creator I could really think of, and I've encountered a lot that I could say I had a bad experience per se. I've heard people say things about certain creators. Again, I'm fortunate. I never had that encounter
Hmm.
with certain creators.
Can you say the same, Mike?
No, no. I've had a few. I mean, not like terrible. Not like, I disavow the entire human race because this one person was a jerk at a Comic-Con. But there were a few where it's like, I can imagine what you had to deal with all day. So I'll give you that excuse because, man, I mean, there was a term at conventions called like booth barnacles or something like that.
I heard of that.
And it's like, if I hear one more person asking for this or why, just ask your question, move along, kind of a thing. And these people just linger, and it's like, so by the time you get there and they've already had the booth barnacle situation, please don't be this person. But I can't not have that edge on me just in anticipation of this happening. Because obviously, I mean, we're coming in as complete strangers. We have zero connection with these people, and you're getting like right in their face. I mean, it's like there's just that tiny piece of plastic table between you and them, and it's like, I don't know what this next person is going to come up, what they're going to do, what they're going to say, what they're going to show, or even if they really know who I am. Because there's been a couple of times I remember like somebody stopping by a booth only to present, hey, can you sign this? And it's like, I had nothing to do with this book. I don't know what you want me to sign. I didn't write it, didn't draw it, didn't do inking, didn't do lettering, nothing on this book. And it's like, well, it's a comic. Here, can you just sign it? And it's like, I can imagine their end just kind of frustrated with people.
I did see that one time at MegaCon. I don't know who the hell this artist was. I forgot who it was. There was a woman that had a poster of the DC heroes, and it was kind of like silhouette and shadows. You didn't see their face. And she was just going around just getting people to just autograph it in general. She had nothing really. She came up to this artist, and he looks at it. I'm not going to autograph this. Even though she had everybody else. He's like, how come? I just want your autograph on this so I can remember the show. Well, I had nothing to do with it. But everybody else is, that's them, not me. And she cursed him out big time.
Wow.
Everybody so to some degree, because again, why do you want to disrespect fans in that regard? We paid money to be there for you guys as well. We buy your books so you can have an income. And to say that to a fan, insulting there. Even though it was just her for her own memorabilia of, hey, this is the people who I met. I got this nice poster and have artists like, I wish I could remember that artist's name so I could completely ball him over. But maybe it's worth not remembering because I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything else from him.
Probably best not to say anything about it. But
yeah, but again, and I remember also a couple fans many years ago having a bad experience with an artist in Miami because this artist, which I won't say his name, even though I've never really encountered him, but still, plus I don't think he's done much anything anyway. He brings his whole family. And they spent a good chunk of the time in the beach instead of at the show. So he had fans waiting for hours on end. And he would be showing up like around 2:00 in the afternoon. He goes, oh, so sorry, with my family and the beach. And like, dude, he lost a lot of respect in that show with people. Because again, people were ready to drop money on this guy for his artwork because he was hot at the time with a character that could throw a hammer pretty well. And again, this was many, many years ago. And again, he didn't really care about the fans. He was too busy having fun at the beach and this and that. So I remember.
No, you're not talking about Walt Simonson.
Oh, God, no. I met him twice. Loved the guy.
Yeah.
Loved the guy. And his wonderful wife, too, Louise Simonson. So, yeah, no, Walt was a great guy. Met him, like I said, thanks to Terrificon. And again, there's times where, like I said, one of my favorite moments was I attended a Atlanta convention and I'm having dinner with Renee, again, the boss lady. Next to me is Mike Zeck, John Beatty, Michael Golden.
Wow.
I'm like, how'd this happen? But again, all about timing. When Neil's health was unfortunately declining, and nobody really knew about that. The only people that knew, if you worked with Neil at a show or got to know him, that sort of thing, or immediate family regarding his health, And like I said, COVID made things worse for everybody. When shows started picking up and this and that, what have you not, Renee contacted me or I contacted her. I can't remember, but there was contact communications saying, hey, I need helpers because this and that. And I said, yeah, sure. And then I started working with Renee. And actually, I'll be going to Pensacola Con almost at the end of February to work with her. I think I'll be working with Arthur Sudan, the Zombie King, at his table, I believe, or Michael Golden. I can't remember who. But again, I always have fun working at these shows.
Yeah.
I'm very eternally grateful that I got to work with Neil. Very, very grateful that I work with Renee. And depending on how my life is with scheduling, to work at these shows for her and for the creators.
Yeah, that's great.
Any of those creators, were you like more stunned by like the fan adoration, or was there just like, or like you said, somewhat of the lack of recognition?
Well, I got fortunate in a sense where it's more of no lack of recognition because again, Jim Shooter is Jim Shooter. He's been around since he's been writing comic books since he was 13 years old.
Yeah, Legion.
Right?
Yeah, those are my books.
He wrote the very first ever Flash versus Superman at the age of 13. Okay, a lot of people don't know that. For that matter, Mort Weisner did not know that Shooter was a teenager for almost a year and a half until he said, hey, we need you to come to the office. You got to work on a couple things. And again, this is all through telephones. Shooter was living in Pennsylvania at the time. And he goes, that might be a problem. Why? I got to ask my mother permission. What? How old are you? I'm 14. Put your mother on the phone. So then next thing, Shooter and his mother know they're up in New York for about a week. Well, he's getting lessons from Mort on writing styles and plot and stuff like that. Stories that I got from these creators like that, having dinner, having a beer, something like that. Again, I got to know these people like that.
I sense a book deal in your future where you have all these stories and behind the scenes at conventions.
I do have little notes every now and then. And again, I'm a huge Daredevil fan. That's my favorite Marvel character. So it's Daredevil, Punisher, and Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Quite the spread. Cosmic to street level.
Yep. So anyway, I remember people always talking about, this, that, and one of Shooter's favorite stories was that, Daredevil was almost canceled, actually. It was on the verge of cancellation. He said the sales were horrible. Even though he had a good writing team on it, good editor, it wasn't selling well. And then there was a young kid from Vermont. He already had a couple issues on Spectacular Spider-Man. Shooter told the editor, hey, we're going to put this kid on. Let him do his pencils. Let him run free. That issue was 158, the first appearance of Frank Miller on Daredevil. And the rest is history. And again, it also helped that Frank Miller had Classis Jansen as an inker and finisher as well, which, again, I feel kind of bad for him to some extent because when people say Frank Miller's Daredevil, he actually had a huge part in that as well. Because there are times where Jansen really did a lot more artwork than Miller because he would sometimes just put something kind of loose and Jansen would finish it up. And at one point, he was also the colorist on certain issues as well. And I remember talking to him about that too. And he said, oh, yeah, I had fun because I was experimenting with all the colors and see what we could do in there as well. Yeah, so again, it's that's one of the perks about talking to these guys and asking certain questions that I'm sure they are tired of hearing the repeat questions. Oh, what's your favorite issue, or what's this and this and that. I'm more of the technical side. Like I said, how was it coloring back then to what it is now?
That's a huge, undertaking with the computer coloring. It's gotten like, you look back at like Kurt Swan.
Oh yeah.
Flat color to now it's like, man, that is fully rendered 3-dimensional. You might as well get your AR and augmented reality goggles on and look how they colored it.
And to hear current artists can't do pages and then they have all this computer stuff that can help and then the old timers cranked out 8 pages a week. It's amazing.
I know. And again, like I said, it is in a sense a lost art form because you hear creators now that, oh, do you have any original pages? Nah. How come? It's all digital. I hate that. So there's no original pages of this issue? Nah. Oh, I remember Freddie Williams the third. I like his stuff a lot.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
remember going to him at a show and I said, hey, do you got any pages when you did this? Nope. Why you left it? Did it all on a computer. Oh, and I remember saying "oh" in front of him like that. Oh, like massive disappointment, and I could see on his face that he did not like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he could, well, I am up for commissions, and I said, I'll think about it.
Right.
Mhm.
I went to
Not what
somebody
I
else.
want.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a sense, because I really was hoping for. I think he did the Turtles and the Titans, the Teen Titans, Jeff Johns, I believe,
Mm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I was hoping for one of those pages, but
Yeah,
no,
that's lost income for them too. I mean, really,
to
that
some extent. I mean, I'm sure he still made money regarding on commissions, and he was actually drawing stuff, but
yeah.
still, yeah, I wanted an original published piece.
Andy and I have one Comic Con story that you might appreciate because of the original art connection to it. So we were at a con in Detroit area, and Sheldon Moldoff, yeah, he was
Yes,
there. I can't remember. There was another Golden Age comic artist there,
yep, I met him.
It was
and
Marty Nodell wasn't there
that,
I
too.
met him too.
yeah. So they were both there. They were talking about like what it was like to draw comics in the golden age of comic books and so forth, and how that they would just crank this stuff out. And they, one of the things that was asked is like, do you have any of your stuff at all from that era? And it's like, no. And the reason why they didn't was that they never got any of their pages back because at the time when the printer was doing the print runs for these comics, they were just running those machines and just it was a mess. It was a nightmare. Ink was getting everywhere, splatters. The machines weren't like high quality like they are now. They were just basically glorified. They were printing newspapers and comic books at the same time. So it was just poor quality. The machines weren't great. Well, the people that were running the presses were just getting tired of getting goop and everything on it. So once they got the plates to print those comics, they took the originals, flipped them art side down, and stuck them on the floor so that their shoes wouldn't get covered in goop and stuff from the ink that was splattered all over the floor. So they were taking original comic pages, Golden Age era, and just laying them on the floor and just layers and layers and layers of original comic art just
Oh,
to cover all the ink blobs.
that's a new one on me because another story that I heard back in the day was that the publishers or the editors would then later on just chop them up or just light them on fire because again they didn't know what to do with them. They didn't want to have stacks, or
Yeah.
you're afraid of people might steal them and copyright them or something of that nature. So, and I remember I think it was a year before my mom died or the same year that Jerry Robinson had a portable museum of the golden age of comic books called the Zip Zam and Pow, and it was in Bonita Springs, which is only about 45 minutes where I live, at this art school slash museum, and I got to see original artwork from the 1940s and this and
Mm.
that people were able to somewhat save before they got destroyed as well.
That's crazy.
So I saw two original Bill Finger pages, typed pages as well. So that was amazing to see. And this is years and years before he finally got his credit on Batman. And
Right.
there are
Yeah.
two original Bill Finger pages that he typed. Like, holy smokes. I
Yeah,
saw the original Jerry Robinson Joker card that he did as well
nice.
at this museum. So I was like blown away by that.
I still am I wouldn't say, because like you mentioned early on, that Neil Adams was there to help, the Superman creators get their, rights back in the 70s. Those Superman movie was coming out. There was all this money that they were going to get and they were spending, and it was all Superman related. And I think one of them was like a janitor. Wound up as a
Well,
janitor.
at that point, Joe Shuster was legally blind, and Jerry Siegel was not a janitor per se. He was working at a file clerk's office, I think, for a VA, something of that nature as well. I think Schuster at one point did do some delivery before his eyesight went down. Yeah, it was really fascinating what happened to those creators, but at least, yeah, you had Neil Adams, and also another unsung hero for them that doesn't get a lot of spotlight was also Carmine Infantino. He also was a driving force to help get Siegel and Schuster as well get their name back on the byline.
Yeah. What I was heading towards is, it says Superman created by, it has the word and in it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it still bothers me to no end that Batman says with.
Yeah.
It's Bob Kane with Bill Finger. There's no with, it's and.
So I kind of spoke to Athena Finger, who is the granddaughter of Bill Finger. And again, we always see each other at shows, and it's, hey, how you doing, and this and that. Like, I'm solid friends with Athena, which is great, and we kind of touched on that concept a little bit. And again, it all has to do with the legal aspect of it as well. But she said, in hindsight, she's just finally happy that the family could see that, just see his name there. Is just that itself they're very, very grateful for, because for the longest of time, Bob Kane had in solid clad contract. It was only him as sole proprietor. But again, things came up and this and that, and it was heavily challenged through a lot of stuff. And again, at least his name is on there. Sure, I would love to see it and as well, but just the concept alone, Bill Finger's name in there. He's finally got his just due in that regard to get his name in the credits.
Yeah, I will give Bob Kane full marks for shrewd lawyering back in that era when no
he
one.
Was such a I got to talk to Shelley Madoff years ago when he was at Florida SuperCon, and he did not speak highly of Bob Kane at all. He said he was one of the biggest scumbags he said he was truly one of the biggest villains out there, because he also underpaid the ghostwriters. He underpaid Dick Sprang as well. He was slowly underpaying them. Paid great. So
I think Steranko still has the best Bob Kane story, though. Get some of the details wrong, but I just remembered that from Steranko's point of view, there's an elevator situation. They get into this elevator. Bob Kane's in it, and he's got somewhat of an entourage with him or something along those lines. And either they're riding down or up. Kane slaps him on the back or something like that. It's like, hey, they're a little kid or something like that. Young whippersnapper, kind of a, I'm the old guard and you're just, some young upstart, and just kind of out of jest or whatever, but smacks him on the shoulder a little too hard. Steranko gets out of the elevator and then kind of comes to his senses like, what the heck was that all about? And then does what Steranko does. Runs down the steps in order to catch the elevator. The doors open, and as soon as the doors open, a fist goes flying right into Bob Kane's face.
Yep. He told me that story too. Yeah, Bob Kane had zero to next to no fans.
Yeah.
In that regard, he was, But again, it's like I said, that's one of the perks. I always tell people this: if you love going to conventions and if you love comic books, go to a show. But at the same time, at one point, put an application in. You never know what could happen, because I never thought that. Again, I got fortunate that I started off photographing the shows, then later on they changed me to work the celebs, then finally to the comic book people, and then it just where I started working one-on-one with the people as well. I think one of my favorite celebs I ever got to work with, and I'm not a celebrity person, I'm like, but this person I made an exception because I kind of fought for it. It was in 2016. It was the year of when Frank Miller was coming out with The Dark Knight 3, Master Race. And that was my first year I met him as well, and I got my art pieces from him. And I was working the show in the celebrity section, and I fought tooth and nail so I could be with this celebrity 85% of the time throughout those 4 days. And that celebrity, Kevin Conroy.
Oh, dang. Nice.
I got to work. I was the guy that was in front of him at the table where talking to the fellow fans with the items and like, what's your name? My name is Lawrence. Okay, I was want to make sure I understood it. Okay, on his sticker. There you go. And this and that. And it was great too, because I took it upon myself whenever Mr. Conroy would show up, I would say, "Everybody, Kevin Conroy," and then he would stand up on the table, not a table, on his chair, and do his "I am vengeance, I'm the night, I am Batman," and anybody could, and he did it loud, so anybody who heard him, the whole place erupted. Even people who were on the other line were like, "That's
Right.
One guy who told me, I'm not a Batman fan, but yeah."
That was good.
So again, and I'll never forget times where I'm also geeking out with bands regarding, he would do his Batman voice on me where he goes, "Roberto, pay attention, get the line moving," or "Roberto, what's the whole?" So again, and I photographed celebrities, I photographed politicians and this and that, but to hear Batman say my name, I almost wet myself.
Right.
That was like, and one of my favorite stories of that too was there was this big guy who dressed up as Two-Face from the show. This guy was about maybe 6'6" and maybe a couple of Twinkies away from 300 pounds, but it had a good bulk. He had a good bulk to him though. He wasn't like obese or anything. He just looked good. He was shaking like a leaf. I'm like saying to myself, this big monster of a man that could just break me in half, and he is like trembling. He had one of those pops of Batman. It was from one of the arcade games. And I said to him, "Listen, you look great." So I'm helping him. "You look great." And he really did look great as Two-Face from this show. He had the green on, painted and everything. He had the black and white suit. I don't know where he got that. Like, he's going to like that. And when it was this young man's turn, Mr. Conroy always, most of the time, never sat at the table per se. He mostly was in front of the table to really meet the fans. He was very personable. He was very grateful to the fans. And the moment he saw this young man, he goes, "Oh my God, you look great." Oh, I just Richard Mall, the voice of Two-Face. If he was here, he would love this. And again, he's shaking the guy's hands, pictures taken, got autograph. And as the young man's leaving, he was probably in his late 20s. I said, "You're right. How was it, dude? I'm going to cry right now." You're fine. So again, I think that's that working Kevin Conroy's line was one of the most coolest. It's really up there. I think it has to be my number one moment working a show was Kevin Conroy.
That's pretty.
And then, yeah, it was amazing and it was great.
He came across as super friendly because I remember him talking about when 9/11 happened and he was working the soup kitchen. And there was a recording of him talking about like, here he is, like helping people. Then someone goes, "Am I hearing Batman? What's going on?" And he was like, he was in the back, kind of helping with food distribution and setup and so forth. And it's like, "Is that Batman?" And it's like, sure enough, it's like all of a sudden he got moved up to the front so that he could talk to the people as they're coming through the lines and stuff. And it's like,
also that same year too, for about maybe 45 minutes, I also got to work Stan Lee's line as well. That was kind of cool because Conroy had to go out to do a panel, and then, "Hey, can you cover Stan Lee's panel for when Conroy?" "Yeah, sure." And then next thing I know, I'm similar to like Kevin Conroy. I'm standing, and maybe less than, I don't know, 10 feet is Stan Lee. But
That's cool.
So, and I wish there was a photo of me working that. But that certain section, no photos were allowed. Yeah, so again, that was amazing. But eventually, I did get to actually photograph Stan Lee at the show.
Nice.
So, yeah,
very nice.
He autographed one of my shots I took of him and Jimmy Palmiotti.
See, now you have a behind the scenes cons, and then you'll have all the photos right in there too. That's a perfect bookend for whatever else you're gonna do.
And that's what I've been doing the last couple shows. I've been going through my archives, and I'm kind of glad I've been doing this. So I remember I took photos of Jim Steranko at a panel, and then later on I printed one out so I could have him autograph it, which he did. And then one of my favorite ones I did was there was a panel many years ago at MegaCon called Noir. So he had a lot of the comic book artists and writers there. And one of them was Cook, Darwin Cook. And then
Oh, don't get me started on Darwin Cook.
Oh, good or bad?
Good.
Okay, great.
Fantastic.
So I
Fantastic.
got a great shot of him where he's leaning like this, and I took it, and it's in black and white. And then again, I'm saying to myself, I have all these photos of creators, and well, I just print them out and get them autographed by them. And sure enough, I went to him, and he goes, "Oh, where'd you get this?" And I said, "From last year, from that noir panel. I was the photographer for that event." "Oh, cool." So he wrote, to Roberto, and then he drew a quick sketchy of Green Lantern for me on
Oh,
that print. Yeah,
man.
I got a few Darwin Cook's quickies. I got one that he did of Agent Graves from 100 Bullets, because
Okay.
he wrote an intro to one of those trade backs.
Oh, he did he? Okay.
Yeah, I forgot which one, but
Hmm.
I don't have it because I have every single issue of it. So
Gotcha.
Oh, look at that right next to me, Parker.
Yes, the Parker. Yeah, I've read all those novels, and the Donald Westlake slash.
Ooh.
Oh, there it is. All right.
You're killing me.
Second book, and then again, this is the first book, the first Parker book.
Nice.
So yeah, there's that. That's a close. I have a Catwoman somewhere in here that he did as well in one of his Darwin books. That just highlights him, and he drew a Catwoman in there for me as well.
Wow.
I love it when they can just do that in Sharpie, because Adam Hughes was the other one where they would just bust it out and to be perfect. Like no line wasted, no line, no searching, no like, well, let me think about it. It's like, nope, fluid and done.
I know, to make it look so effortlessly too. I'm like,
Makes almost everybody feel like, oh, I could do this. Like, there's no effort at all in it. Like, anybody can do this. And then when you actually try to sit down, it's like, oh, this is impossible.
I will assure you, not anybody can do this because I can't. That's for sure.
So what's your story with Darwin Cook?
Oh, just how much I admire him. No story that I've met him or anything like that. My equivalent of Dave Stevens would be, I've met him. He was awesome. But I wish I would have met Darwin Cook.
Okay, so now we're trading creators here. I wish I could have met Dave Stevens.
Yeah, I met him like in a little like a hotel convention where it was just comics, and he was just there, and I got his art book, and he signed it, and just a little conversation with him. It was a couple years before he died. It was amazing.
Oh, godly. Every now and then I do see a couple pieces online. Oh, that's so out of my budget. He had one page on Ramita Artman. I think it's long gone, but it was a page that he did only 2 figurines, the same character, and that's of Betty Page. The rest was done by another very talented artist. Wanted about maybe $1,000 for that piece.
Yeah.
And I couldn't pull the trigger at the time. Like, I don't want to say regret it, but it wasn't it. To some extent. Well, I made up for the Punisher piece by Ramita.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Well, that's where you're like, like you said, you have to go through somebody's portfolio to see, like, okay, let me take a look to see what all you have, because I could get for that same $1,000, I might be able to get 3 by some other artist. And then I got like 3 full pages of, like, here's something from this artist, and this artist. And now I've got like, several pieces as opposed to just the one.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I always tell people, just, make sure what you're getting is going to be what you're really getting, and no regrets.
Right.
But like I said, it's, like I said, I thoroughly, again, and whenever I buy stuff, again, I always have that remembrance of, I always am very grateful for my parents introducing me to comic books, to make sure of my own background of being adopted and being orphaned and being an immigrant because of that. So again, it's never lost. I'm very much aware of what could have happened if I did stay in Honduras back in the 80s. Massive turmoil, massive doing the guerrilla warfare basically, and the wars they were having with Nicaragua and El Salvador at the time. And so again, I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah, totally different lifestyle.
Oh yeah. So again, that's, like I said, I'm glad to be adopted twice by my parents and by this country.
And comic books.
Yeah. So again, like I said, because again, I never would have imagined that I'll be again having drinks and dinner with creators that I grew up reading, and sometimes being first name basis on creators, or having their phone numbers in my phone and just doing a quick, hey, how you doing? Just like friendly, not like demanding or like, hey, do you got any artwork that's available and stuff like that. It's just friends, which is great. Again, I never thought that I'm friends with the guy that co-created Bane, Graham Knoll. It's like every time we see each other, hugs and kisses, and not in that sense, but it's always happy to see one another. And like, hey, got a cigar? Yeah, let's go.
There it is. Outside of Darwin Cook, one of the other loves that I've got was the pairing of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips on so many different titles. But one that reminds me so much, probably from that, which I guess Amazon's supposed to be doing that soon?
I think so, yeah. Let's see if they really hold true to some of the storylines.
Yeah. Yeah, but one of which was actually in that criminal, was that they put into hardcover was that Bad Weekend.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you basically helped co-write that in some capacity, because it's all about kind of an aged out comic creator, and then the stories that kind of talk about the early years of comics, how everybody kind of got swindled out of all their royalties and monies and everything. And it's like, and then here he is in his 80s going to one more con.
Yeah.
And it's a great story. Loved the story.
The one thing I love about that team, very similar to Eduardo Rizzo and Brian Azzarello on 100 Bullets, or anything that they work on, those two teams creatively, is that, and I think the biggest compliment you could give somebody like that is, it feels like it's done by one person. Brubaker and Phillips, I don't think, this is him writing and this is drawing. It feels like it's by one person. Same thing for and I told this to Azzarello as well. It's like, whenever you team up with Rizzo, it feels like it's by one person. And that's like one of the biggest compliments you could give a creator. Because again, they're not thinking of this person or that person. It's just thinking of it's one book by one person. Because everybody's in sync.
There's a few where it's clearly not that way. And sadly, one of them was that Chris Claremont and Jim Lee era.
Oh, that was rough.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know what, how many times do we need to be introduced in paragraph form to these characters?
I sense the grumpiness coming out of Mike.
Yeah, here comes the cynical. This is why we love the comics, is that you can see when it's good, you love it, but then also it's like, it's not good, then,
Somehow we went from Parker and Darwin Cook to cynicism,
But again, that's what happens when you have been collecting, reading, working at shows. It happens, unfortunately, because again, it's not always going to be butterflies and unicorns. It's like a relationship. You're going to have bumpy moments in it. You find something that brings you back to why you love it.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for Mike to talk about John Byrne now.
Yeah. But, it is interesting that, like, different stages of your life, you find that you are more drawn to a genre of comics as well.
Oh, yeah.
Early on, it was just smack 'em ups. Just give me anything that's got Superman on the cover. Give me anything that's got Spider-Man. Give me, I'll just take whatever I can get my hands on. And then, like, later on, you're kind of like, well, let me find something that's more in the non-superhero, but still a comic book, and then move on to, now it's like just whatever Sean Phillips and Ed Brubaker put out.
So I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because in 2000, I was like, comic books suck. This is awful. Oh, this is garbage. Blah, blah, blah. What the hell am I wasting my money for? I remember going to my friend's place for a dinner. We're playing, I think it was Call of Duty or something like that. At one point, he got up so he could start making dinner. And then I saw these 4 books on his table. Covers look kind of cool. And we start reading them. And I read issues 1 through 4 of this series that got me back to comic books. And I told this to the writer. That book was 100 Bullets.
It's surprising. I mean, like, where that kind of, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere, but it was just such a refreshing change from.
And again, that's what helped me. So I got fortunate too, because I was able to go to the comic book warehouse and I was able to get the back orders and start off with issue number 5. So then I have every single issue of 100 Bullets.
Wow.
And I've met Dave Johnson, the cover artist. I've met, again, Azzarello, like I mentioned multiple times. I have not met Rizzo yet, even though I do have 3 pages, original published pages from that book.
Wow.
And one of them is from issue number 3. I've had several people make me some good offers on that, and I go, no.
Would you ever? I mean, I know you're a collector, but do you ever think, hey, I could flip this for some easy cash?
Art wise, no. Art wise, no. Comic books, maybe. I mean, I have flipped books on reserve that are not sentimental. I have bought books where they're graded and this and that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Where I can maybe either flip them or trade them in to get something that I really want. That's how I was able to get my Punisher 129. I originally had a 129, graded 6. I had to sell it when I was in college because I needed 4 new tires and my transmission taken care of. It was it was my first time ever I had to sell stuff, and that was one of my bigger books.
Mm-hmm.
This is back in 2005. For what it was worth, my car lasted an extra 4 years.
Yeah, right. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah.
But again, later on, when things were financially and all that good stuff was better, I learned from friends, buy books that are not sentimental and see what you could do with them later on. And that's what I did. So I went to when I went to Comic-Con for the first time, I brought books with me that had, if you put them together, some good value. Again, one of the perks working with these shows, you get the lay of the land. You get to see where everything's at before everybody else does.
Sure.
And I came across this one vendor that had about 5 of the 129s from all different grades. But there was that number 6 grade. I asked the price. He told me the price. Then, okay, that's cool. That's great. Did you trade? What do you have? I showed him what I had brought with me. Okay, we could do a couple things. There was Silver Age flashes that I had. No first appearance of anybody, though. More second appearances. Yeah, 8. And there was another one I had too. 129 came home with me that show. So yeah. So again, that's what I do sometimes. I'll buy books that I know that has no sentimental value that I know later on I could use to help if I want to purchase something.
Something you really do want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I do that.
Okay.
But when it comes to like artwork,
That's a one of one. You're never gonna get it. You're never gonna see it again.
exactly. Like I'm very grateful like this one artist because his rates has skyrocketed like you wouldn't believe. So if you guys ever read Lex Luthor, Man of Steel by Brian Azzarello and Lieber Mayhew, then later on they did Joker together as well. And he also was the cover artist for Hellblazer for a while as well. Did some interiors there. So I always loved his stuff. And he lives in Italy. So him coming to the States is very, very rare. Okay. Way back, I think it was in 2009 or something like that. He was doing a 1-day show appearance in Orlando. And I can't remember the actual name of the show, Florida Collective or something like that. I feel bad because I always see the promoter, the guy who did it, great guy. I'm trying to remember his name. But he's one that was able to have these individuals there for this 1-day show. And again, I said, I'm going up there because Lieber Mayhew is going to be there. I drive up to Orlando. I go on his commission list, and I was number 3. Okay, number 3.
Nice.
Spot because he already had a line right behind me. He had about at least a good 20 people behind me. He was only charging $100.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Wait for it. So midday, around 1 o'clock or so, 2 o'clock, I go up to him and I said, "Hi, I'm here to pick up my piece." Okay. He was working on a kilowog that looked great for that one person.
Mm.
And I said, "No, hands me a totally different character what I asked for." And I said, "Hey, this looks great. This looks awesome. It's not my piece." Huh? And he looks at this. I'm sorry, what's your name again? My name's Roberto. I'm number 3. He accidentally skipped me. That's what I said too in my head. And he goes, and look, man, that's okay. No, he goes, no. I'm sorry. It's my fault. Next I know, that's when he pushes that kilowog commission piece off to the side. Lee looks right at me and goes, "Don't worry, I got you." At the end of the show, I came back to him and he handed me what I asked for, which was a Joker.
Mm.
And again, this is right after the novel just came out, the graphic novel Joker.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to get this Joker from him.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
$100 at the time.
Wow.
Something like this, he's asking for about, I think, $750.
Yeah, I believe it.
So very eternally grateful. And again, this is why I don't sell art. I bust my ass at work. Or I make sure I am hustling regarding my photography and make sure bills are paid. I make sure this is paid. Everything is paid, so I can have a little bit of fun. Very eternally grateful.
Man, that's awesome.
Because it looks like it could be used for a cover, actually.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Easily.
For those who don't see it, don't worry. I'll put on my TikTok account later on.
There you go.
What I'm talking about.
Well, Rob, it's been great talking to you. We probably could wrap it up here. Again, thank you for taking your time and telling us all these great stories. Hopefully we can do this again. Of course, one of the great things about being on the show is I get to eternally plug your whatever you want to plug. I'm going to just put it at the end of every show we do from now on. And you're in the forever cast of legends for it. So if there's anything you want me to plug or you want to direct people somewhere, just let me know.
Well, again, I'm a photographer, so my Instagram is at Roberto Photos Naples FL. Okay. And then my TikTok is Roberto Photos, I believe. All right, again, gentlemen, it was a pleasure. I had so much fun. Why I love comic books.
And if you have any questions or anything like that for Roberto or the rest of us, please contact us on our webpage. And this is why I love comics podcast.buzzsprout.com. You can email us, another way to contact us, and this is why I love comics at gmail.com. You can join us on the X at and this is why L1. On the Facebook, we're at and this is why I love comics podcast. On there, you can see upcoming events and other comments from us. And on the TikTok, we're and why I love comics podcast. You can support the show either on the Buzzsprout page or become a Patreon member, which I'm getting set up again right now. Thanks to all our supporters and friends of the show. We couldn't do without you. Thanks again to Roberto, always a friend of the show. You can check him out on his TikTok, as he said, at Roberto Photos. Thanks to producer Katie, producer Tony, co-host Matt 2.0, Kevin, who we're going to chat with shortly, Jamie, and Matt 10.0. Also, thanks to new friend of the show, Roberto. Look on our Facebook page for our current contest going to episode 100. I'm going to walk you through it right now. Here's how the easiest way to enter the contest. Go to our webpage, and this is why I love comics podcast.buzzsprout.com. And on the very top of the page, there's a spot that says on the road to 100. If you text us anything, you are entered. Click the link and send us a message. If you just click that link, you will be entered into the contest. Just text us something that says, I want to be entered, or enter me, or let me join the contest, something like that. Text us and you'll be entered into the show. The prize is growing. Jamie from J Hood Comics has graciously decided to give us another prize, which we will talk about in an upcoming episode. I have 6 or 7 trades and an art piece of Superman by Adam Hughes that I got a long time ago at a convention. I'm throwing that into. So again, easiest way, text us. It's a link right on our webpage. And as always, I'm Andy, that's Mike, and we will talk to you next time with another guest. Bring on the Thunder Chicken, who, by the way, Kevin from Thunder Chicken has a new group, Semi-Casual Bedtime. Check them out on Spotify. Tell me that you went there.
And your supple chest is on me, and your skin melts around me, and your face is in between age and intimacy. And I would give you everything if I owned everything. As your tears bleed down, all my thoughts go down.
That is sweet.